Don't tell me I drove all the way out here for nothing. He's not answering his phone.
Please leave your message for...
A few moments later.
Mikey Pipes!
It's me!
Hang on. That's your driveway, that's your side door. Is this his first day?
No.
Oh, I wanted a trainee, Mikey Pipes. I told you, Nate, I want a trainee. All right, listen, this is all yours.
So go to the side door.
All yours, dog.
Okay. Dum. I guess he's a super fan. We're gonna have to give him some extra love. All right, Derek. Let's see if the door is open.
Mikey Pipes.
It's me, Mikey Pipes.
Listen to me. It doesn't get better than this. What's your name? Derek. Nice to meet you. I wanted a trainee, Derek. You're not the guy that eats like a gabon, is it?
No.
What? Come here. You get over here. No.
Hug it out.
No. So a couple things real quick.
Yes, sir.
You know, I love you.
Quick, can I go? It's a little cold out.
No, I don't care about that. Pipes, come on. Yes. You in the cold. Let's go. Knock it off. I love you.
I love you too,
I
brother.
watch all the YouTubes.
Thank you.
I'm embarrassed
Well, you're embarrassed.
because when they tell you you're gonna
You live in your parents'
I'm
basement?
gonna kill this guy.
Do you live in your parents' basement?
No.
Okay, so
Pipes. Come on now. I got a chair for you. Just sit down.
you got a
Right over there. Right over there, Pipes.
Oh God. Okay.
All right, listen.
I'm sitting down. You're sitting down as well.
I'm embarrassed because I'm in property management.
Really?
I bought this house 2015. I've never had the boiler serviced.
That's embarrassing.
Thank you.
So you've lived here for 11 years, and you've never serviced the boiler.
Right, but now
That shows you how great American products are.
but that shows you how good you are. Because it was your videos that made me, I don't trust anybody. You know how this works.
I
And
hear
you
you.
talk about it all the time in your video.
I
The
do.
guy charges $5,000, you extend the life 7 years. So I said, I never had a problem with it. It's kind of like Murphy's Law. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
So now, after listening to your videos, I said, you know what? I trust this
So,
guy.
thank you. I don't mean to cut you off. You said you're in property management. You do
Well, no,
residential,
I mean,
commercial,
no,
or
I'm all done. I'm 70 when I'm retired.
you retired? Oh,
So what
congratulations.
now is I do fix and flips,
Okay.
which is nice, right? So,
So when you fix and flip, what do you install?
well, I didn't do my first one February 16th.
Okay.
My first one is I'm closing in a couple of days.
Where's the house? Where's the property?
Kingsburg, New Jersey.
Outside of New York. Yeah.
You know where it is. Well, you know New York.
Yeah.
So
What's up with the black pussycat?
Are you allergic to cats?
No.
Okay, because I'll get if I gotta hang them, I'll hang them.
Wow.
I'm not having nothing happen to you.
Wow.
No, if I gotta kill them, I'll kill them for you.
No, it's all right.
All right, he can stay.
Wow, it's respect. Isn't that respect?
That's the ultimate respect. So anyway, so because of you, I've said, you know what, I love this guy. Let's do this. I want you to treat it as if you own it. From today on, you'll be the only one that ever touches it.
So let me ask you: you want us to put you under a maintenance agreement
Yes,
as well? Okay,
yes,
very good. We
yes.
can do that. And now, how do you cool your home?
I got air conditioners in the windows, and I got is it a P-Tech to the?
Through the wall unit?
Yeah, it's hung up.
Oh,
Like
and connected to an outdoor unit?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
show
so
it
it's
to
called a mini split, ductless mini split.
you.
Yeah.
So I got that.
So.
Go ahead.
Understood. Gotcha. Okay, very good. So just observational. I always say this quite frequently in my videos. And when I first arrive, I'm always observant. Like I look, as soon as I walk into a house, we've made eye contact, but my side peripheral vision, I'm looking to see if you have radiators, baseboard, you have ductless units on the wall. Because I always say this, a good technician is observant of their surroundings, right? So you brought me right downstairs. I didn't really get a chance to see upstairs. But what I'm noticing right away, Derek, I don't know if Derek's noticing it, like you have 3-inch single wall vent piping, flue piping for your water heater, which is then back pitched. That's dangerous,
Thank you.
right? I noticed that the drip legs on the relief valves on the backflow prevention device and also the water heater are too high. Is that a major problem? Listen, I'm not like a code enforcement guy, right? But if there is no drip leg on a relief valve or it's like 10 inches long, that's a hazard, especially if there's a wash machine or dryer next to it. God forbid that thing goes off and the house, or the wife or the woman, whoever, or the guy in the house is doing the laundry and the thing happens to go off. You're gonna get seriously injured or die, right? But it's you listen, it's like 15 inches off the floor. Is that might be a stickle about that? No. But the 3-inch vent piping when it should be 4-inch, if it's 40,000 BTUs or higher, you know, that's no bueno. Looking at how the piping is on this boiler, it kind of looks like Ray Charles installed it with Helen Keller, you know, with one up her, you know, right? But it looks like a blind man put it in. But if it works and it's functional, that's great as long as it's safe. That's all that matters. So we're gonna go through this with a fine-tooth comb. Derek's gonna grab the combustion analyzer from the truck, the WD-40, the rag, the tool bag.
Now, the only thing, Derek, you got to be a little cautious with the cats.
Yeah.
So
Cats, plural.
I only have one cat I worry about, and that's.
You know it'd be crazy if your cat just like came over and just took a shit on the floor right now.
Just be cognizant when you open and you close right away, he's behind you. You know, there's nobody runs behind you. Like right now, there's nothing. Thank you, Derek. Mikey, I just want to say to all your YouTubers, I am honored to have you here today. I just want to say I've been following Mikey on YouTube for quite some time, and he's here today because very simply I trust him. I've watched enough of his videos to get a good read on people. In my career, I've had over 600 people work for me. I've probably had 100 different plumbers in all my buildings. I ran over 15,000 apartments. And this is the guy I'm hitching my wagon to from this day forward. And I'm telling Mikey, treat this as if you own it. It's been installed for a while, but this is now your child that you have adopted. And I just want to say I'm in Addersley Park, and when I go to my next community board meeting, I expect each and every one of you to have a Mikey's label on your furnace if he ever comes to your house. So we are now going to give him so much work in Addersley Park, he's going to contemplate opening an office on Jamaica Ave. There it is, Mikey. And Janine, thank you for sending him to me because I'll be honest, I was worried. He's a busy man.
So.
What do you have? Cup of tea?
No, you got, only drink water.
Okay.
Derek loves water.
Derek's going to drink water.
Yeah.
Derek's good if we ever get stranded. We got to do some work in the desert. You never know, right?
Derek will pull out, like, Peter would have pulled out water out of his
Peter
pockets.
Pan. Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. All right, folks, let's just do a quick overview.
Now, can we also do the test with Derek? You know how you
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, because we want to see how sharp Derek is.
All right, Derek. Derek, I'm putting you under pressure right now.
What's this? What's
We're going to do that right now. Well, first, oh, man, we're going to have to give him a new water heater. Yeah. Okay. What's this called?
Vent damper.
Okay.
Now remember, he gets.
Oh, relax.
Mikey, he gets $1 for everyone right.
Okay, you'll give him $1 for everyone right. Okay. So that's the damper.
Pressure gauge.
More technical.
Try to get it.
Yes, excellent.
Air vent.
Okay. What size would that be?
1/8.
Yeah. Okay. What is this thing called?
Air scoop.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. No. You got it right. What PSI should this be?
30.
Yes. And what is it called?
Pressure relief valve.
Yep. What is this green thing called?
Expansion tank.
And what is it pre-charged at?
12.
Yeah. Oh wow. Excellent. Okay, getting that. What is this called?
Feed valve. Pressure reducing valve.
Okay. And this?
Backflow preventer.
Let's see. Look at this. Okay. Now, what is that one?
Spill switch.
Okay. Now let's get a little more technical now. Oh, this black thing?
Circulator.
Okay. We get some light.
Gas valve.
What kind of gas valve it is?
Intermittent.
Okay. What about this thing right back there with this those wires sticking out of it right there?
It's a transformer.
Yep. And
Ignition module.
yep. Okay. Good. And this little thing right there.
This.
Yeah. What do you think that is?
Temperature.
Yep. Temperature sensor. Okay. And what else does it probably do? That's a loaded question.
What else is this? Do?
It probably also does low water cutoff. Probably does. You got every single one right, Derek. You should give yourself a pat in the back. That is epic. Wow, look at that. You're not even a year. You're not even 1 full year of actually working in the field, right? Yet you got every single component right.
Mikey, 15?
Yeah, give him 15.
All right, you made $15.
Okay.
Good job, Derek. Here's mine.
Now, sir, we have some issues we have to address with the water heater, and I would suggest, based on the, man, it's like 11 years old, 12 years old.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah, I would recommend that. I hate to say it because it's really not that old, but I would recommend replacement of the water heater, and then you're gonna have to chop up the flue for the exhaust to increase that to 4-inch. You told me that you're entrusting me with to treat it as my own, and listen, there's some things with the boiler that are rusted up and lack of maintenance, things like that, and we'll rejuvenate all this. You know, it's not that hard. But the domestic hot water outlet of the water heater, that is no bueno. All right, folks, we have the power switch off. Little unorthodox switch there, but still a switch nonetheless, and it should have a switch plate there, but nonetheless. Derek removed all of the burners except for the one with the pilot burner. We're going to take that one out as well. We're going to fix that pilot burner tubing that's wrapped around the gas piping there. We're going to vacuum out the inside of the combustion chamber. We're going to wire brush all of the fins on the burners. We're going to lubricate everything, put it all back together, make all this like nice, neat, and clean. But most important, make sure the power's off, and there's a switch on top of the basement stairs or outside the boiler room. Make sure that is off as well, and make sure no one's around to touch it, because you don't want that switch to actually turn on and it goes to the startup sequence and poof, voila, now you have a not a pretty sight. So we offer back to the boiler and then the water heater. So for heating, let me tell you what the heating maintenance plan gives you. It's $29 a month plus tax. We come here once a year and we perform a tune-up like we're doing today. Right? Except when we're done with that tune-up, you're not paying for anything. Unless there's a part that we recommend you change and you approve that, and we do it while we're there. Otherwise, there's no charge for that. So you're getting a discounted annual visit for a full, no stone unturned maintenance visit. Okay? If you need any repairs throughout the year, there are no trip charges. If you need emergency service, there's no emergency trip charge, but the emergency rate, instead of $275 an hour, is discounted to $225 an hour. During the day, let's say you called tomorrow, God forbid, right? I have no heat. There's no trip charge, and the hourly rate becomes $195 an hour plus parts. So you're basically prepaying for a discounted maintenance over the period of 12 months, because it's billable monthly on a credit or debit card. That's $29 a month plus tax. And today, when you sign up for that, we're going to apply the discount on today's service that you'd get by having that. So you'll save a little bit. Now, you're welcome. We also offer like cooling plans, which you don't have. We also offer dryer vent cleaning maintenance plans as well. And last but not least, plumbing, right? So for example, which is I think $19 or $20 a month. We come here once a year and we do a comprehensive inspection of the plumbing in the home that's visible. So we look under the kitchen sinks, the bathroom sinks, the toilets. We check to make sure nothing's eroding away or falling apart. We check the valves, what have you. If you have a water heater that we installed, right, we will flush out the tank, and every 3 years we change the anode rod, included, as long as we installed the water heater. So now, also with the water heater, let's say you need a new water heater and you have a plumbing agreement. You're going to get that discount on that water heater.
Okay.
Right. And then, as long as you maintain that plumbing maintenance plan, the water heater is guaranteed by us for life.
Okay.
Now, I'm a businessman. You're a smart individual. When you do the math, I'm very upfront and transparent, right? Because some people go, oh, it's amazing. But I also want to be fully transparent, because at the end of the day, yes, we're coming here on an annual basis, make sure your home's plumbing and mechanical systems are working well and properly. But we're also making money. I'm not a nonprofit organization. I'm a for-profit, and these guys have families that need to be fed.
Exactly.
So what we're doing, though, every 3 years, I'm changing that anode rod, because I'm extending the life of that tank, and that's the fine print. Like, I'll guarantee that tank, right, for a lifetime. The components will die, right? And if it's still under warranty, we'll replace it, and you'll pay for labor, a discounted rate on labor. But if the tank should fail, and we've been maintaining that for 10, 15, 20 years, I'll give you a new tank.
Thank you.
As long as you maintain that maintenance agreement.
Is there anything I can do to sign up for the 10 and 15 years?
You could do it right now. Oh, 10 and 15?
Yeah, because I'm 71, that'll give me 81 or 86. I'd like to sign up for that deal. It's a
Okay.
life extension policy.
Ah.
Now,
So
you know who
there's-
got that.
Yes. So let me tell you
Now
about
I got
that.
to ask you your Bible question. There's only one person in the Bible, and you know this because you're Jewish. You better
Yes.
know it.
So Jesus did.
No.
Oh, what's the question?
No. Who's the one person in the Bible that asked for a life extension? He was on his dying bed. The prophet walked away and said, get your paperwork in order. You're not going to make it. As he leaves, he turns around, faces the wall, and prays. God hears the prayer, tells the prophet to go back, and extends his life 15 years. Mikey Pipes, who is it?
You got me under pressure, bro.
Oh, you are letting me down. Mikey
Hold on.
Pipes.
Hold on, ChatGPT.
Go ahead.
All right, I fold, right?
Well, I thought you
Ask the
said,
question.
What king in the Bible had a extension of life granted to him?
King has the life was extended.
Hezekiah.
Hezekiah.
How many years? 15. How many years was his life extended? 15.
So Hezekiah became deathly ill, and the prophet Isaiah told him to prepare for death. Hezekiah prayed earnestly to God. God's answer that God heard his prayer and granted him 15 additional years of life. And this was in Isaiah 30, chapter 38, verse 5.
Nice story, Mikey.
Why? You learn
remember
something
that
new every day.
Oh, give it up one time.
All right, back to business, folks. You're going to see that Derek is using a wire brush and very diligently cleaning the slats on all the burners. And that's very important because when you get dust and debris in there, you're talking about, low pressure here. You have 3.5 inches of water column leaving the gas valve going into that black tube down below. And divided amongst all those burners through all those brass orifices, you're really not going to get that much pressure of volume coming out of those slats. So if they're dirty, even a little bit of cobweb could throw things off. And as you guys know, the carbon monoxide is caused by incomplete combustion. So if we have incomplete combustion at the starting point, we're already losing the battle. So take a little extra time, clean those slats. Take a look, blow the compressed air, whatever you want to do. We like using a wire brush. And then we're going to spray them down. You'll see it in a little bit. We're going to spray all these down with some WD-40 to kind of give it a nice coating of protectant, right? And then we'll wipe them all down. We'll vacuum out the combustion chamber, spray that down, put it all back together. Yes, I can't fix the spaghetti of wire that's here. It looks like someone did a zone valve inside this boiler combustion chamber vestibule area. But just do your little due diligence, especially when it comes to the fuel and the ignition process, because that is where you need to really have a nice solid foundation to have a nice clean burning system.
Very important person in our life.
I appreciate that. All right, back to the, so Derek applied some WD-40 to the rag that I probably stole at the last hotel I was at, and wiping that down with the WD-40. I'm going to repeat that process one by one. Then he's going to vacuum out the chamber, spray all that down, wipe it down, and then we'll put everything back together. Then we'll focus our attention on the outside of the jacket of the cabinet, make this bad boy shine again. Now, there are some people that go a step further. They take car paste, polishing wax, and they give it a nice little coat. Yeah, trust me, they do it, right? Especially with the AC technicians, they really like to baby these machines, and they give it a coat of wax. And you could do that. I just like to use WD-40 and wipe it all down, and give it a nice shimmer, nice clean sparkle. And some of you may think, oh, that Mikey attracts the dust. You know what? If I have yet to see a filthy, dust-attracted boiler that I serviced the year before. Now, I pay very close attention to the words. I have yet to see one that I did the year before. Not 5 years later or 2 years later, right? But the year before. It will stay clean as long as your environment is not like crazy. Like this guy, he's got a closet door here, and I don't see any combustion there. Interesting. And we'll talk about that next. So some guys like to use a soot vac, especially the oil guys, which, yeah, you want to do that, especially if the boiler's carbonized. But we're just using Milwaukee M18 portable shop vac, nothing crazy. Vacuuming out the combustion chamber. Now, one of the things I said earlier, a good technician is observing their surroundings. Look at all that rust in the middle there. It makes you think that maybe you have some kind of condensation forming here with low boiler temperature. Maybe with the flue piping, the exhaust, maybe there isn't a stainless steel liner in the chimney. But we're going to check that out next. And if there is not one, it would probably be a good idea to have one. Now, years ago, when we were putting in gas boilers and converting from oil to gas, the inspectors allowed no chimney liner if all 4 walls of the chimney were in an interior of the house. And that's rare because most chimneys are on an outside wall of the house, so you have 3 walls of exposure because 1 wall's facing the house and the other 3 are facing the exterior. And if you had a chimney like that, you shall install a UL approved and listed stainless steel chimney liner. That's what the code said, at least in my authority having jurisdiction. It's been a while since I did an oil to gas conversion because almost everyone has gas now, or even now converting to electrify with heat pumps. But if there's not a stainless steel liner in here, good idea to have one. And especially since we have that 3-inch there, and we're going to have to bust through that chimney breaching to increase that. And I may, if we can get a low boy in here, a low boy 40, we could probably get a Y there. That's 6-inch, 6x4 Y, and then bring that over to a low boy 40-gallon water heater. I have to check the measurements and dimensions off the floor, the elevation of that, but instead of chopping through there, we could put a Y there. But Derek right now is working on that. Oh, what are you taking apart? Don't take that apart.
This?
No, never don't take that apart.
Because I'm trying to move this.
Yeah.
I can't really.
You can't get that?
This doesn't fit.
Well, I think
It's too big.
it's too big. Yeah, let me get in there. All the burners are back into place.
He's the only one, Mikey, that's not afraid of people.
Afraid of people? Oh, the cat.
Yeah, he did. I got 5, and he's the only one that ventures abroad. He's like the inspector.
All right, so we're going to connect that tubing to the gas valve, and then we'll make this nice and pretty. All right, so all of the burners are reinstalled. Let's just try to clean it up a little bit. A little bit more. It's kind of hard to put lipstick on a pig, but sorry about that. All right, so what's that thing called, by the way?
Rollout switch.
Very good. So that is a thermal disc, guys. So it senses temperature and then it permanently burns out. And when it burns out, it'll break the burner circuit, so the gas valve won't get any power. And the only way to make that work would be to replace it after fixing the problem of why there was a rollout. Those installers weren't thinking about the next guy. You may have to hold it here, because you see how it's just spinning in place?
Yes.
You gotta give it put some pressure on it. You're not going, huh? That's annoying. It's just spinning. Yeah, pull that out. It's a black hole. Nope, no chimney liner. That sucks. All right, let's get the furnace cement from the truck. We're gonna have the furnace cement. It should be on the top shelf, driver's side. Really, we should have furnace cement. I pray we do. Put this back together. All right, so we verified that there's no chimney liner in the chimney flue. So right now we got the exhaust piping back installed. We're going to take some furnace cement, which is kind of frozen, and we're going to try to get that in there and seal that up. And we're going to recommend to the homeowner that a stainless steel chimney liner gets installed. Now, he did say, pretend it's my house. You see the condition of the terracotta lining in there? It's perfect. Want to know why it's perfect? Because this chimney is on the inside wall, on the inside of the home. So all 4 walls are insulating this chimney. So those exhaust gases don't really lose much temperature because it's not have that 3-wall exposure. So he did say, treat it like my own house. I'm just recommending it as a professional. What he chooses to do after that is entirely up to him, but we are going to have to address that. All right, so the 6-inch flue pipe is now furnace cemented back to the breaching on the chimney. The cover is on. Everything is wiped down from top down. We got rid of all that dust and all that buildup of just dirt and all that other good stuff. Derek right now is drilling a hole Derek's going to drill that hole about 6 inches off the top of the boiler jacket. And that's going to be our combustion test board. We just use a step bit on our impact drill. And then we're going to do a combustion analysis, making sure that's good. Other than that, besides missing a low water cutoff and an external manual reset high temperature limit, because that's a requirement in the authority having jurisdiction, and that right there, other than that, fairly decent. There's our serial number. Make note of the model number there. I have a GWA 140. That is sketchy, that half-inch copper holding up that expansion tank. When that expansion tank is full, it's going to get a little heavy. And once the boiler's been running for 5 or minutes or so, we're going to insert the probe of the combustion analyzer halfway into the flue piping and take our combustion reading. Give that a few minutes to settle, and we should be good to go. All right, a few more minutes have passed. We are at 400 degrees of stack temperature, 7.6% of CO2, 16 parts per million of particles per million of carbon dioxide, gross efficiency of 81.7%, and our CO2 7.64. And we're dead on the middle where we need to be with this. Let's get that run for a little bit longer. Let's see how much, let's let that stack temperature stabilize and not keep rising. And once we have a stable stack temperature, then we're kind of like at its running capacity. You're close to temperature. Clipboard that real quick, right? Because as soon as that turns off, now we're at temperature, which we should be, right? About 100, a little less than 180 degrees on there. Let's take this off for a second. Let's pull this bad boy off. Let's see what it doesn't say anything, but we are set to 180. The Whale McLean models actually give you the temperature there. And put the economy right there in the middle. Boom. So now we're gonna let this fire back up. We're gonna put that into draft measurements, and we're gonna cut another hole above it, and we'll read draft after the diverter. All right, the boiler just restarted. The Testo 320 is zeroing out. Very important you do that. Now he's gonna put the probe into the draft column, and now we're at negative pressure. We're gonna let that get a little bit hotter. And we'll take a draft measurement there, and we'll hit clipboard, we'll print the results, and we will document it, leaving a copy on the boiler, and we'll know exactly today, this is what it's been running at. And we'll take a piece of silver tape, we'll cover up that hole. That one's fine, but that's just for a good draft measurement. Now, I am a firm believer in learning something new every day. If you watch this channel and you watch some of my videos from last year and many years ago, you're gonna see that I took the draft test from that and the combustion test from the same hole. That's the way I was taught by the dead men that aren't around anymore, right? He actually is dead, Al. Unfortunately, he passed a couple of years ago. He was my mentor for many, many years and my business partner. But that was a hole. He told me to drill one hole for draft and combustion. But I later learned through the community and through just learning that you need to also drill a hole after the diverter, because this will give you that mixed air from the natural draft action that's going on here up the draft hood and out there. So that's what you need to test. But we also need to cover that up because it is kind of a little big. He went a little overboard drilling that hole in that adjustable smoke 90, but we're all good. All right, we are done with the preventative maintenance on this system. Everything is clean. We have valve tags on our boiler water supply, water heater supply, gas for the boiler, gas for the water heater. The flue is re-cemented. We'll talk about the chimney liner. We'll talk about the water heater. And the combustion test results are on the right side. Oh, right over there. There they are there. We'll take a picture of that and put it into our CRM, which I use as House Call Pro. Customer management system. It does billing, dispatching, payment receiving, does everything. If you're interested in House Call Pro, link in the description box down below to automate and make your life easier as not only as the boss, but if you're in the field as well. It's just so easy. You run a tablet, iPhone, iPad, whatever you're going to use. It's an awesome product. Check it out and scale your business with an app that can get you there. All right, let's talk to the homeowner about the water heater. Flue piping for the water heater. And one thing we did not check is we have purge valves here.
Remember, as I told you, I had those frozen pipes. So
Yeah, let's
that's
check
never-
out our direction of
never been
flow
done.
is down. So the circulator is pumping back towards or circulating back towards the boiler. So we're not pumping away as we should. We're bringing that water back to the boiler. That should always be on the supply side. So we have inch and a quarter coming out to 1 inch. There's air scoop, which there's a reason why there's a tapping there, because that should be the expansion tank, and valve, pressure reducing valve, that should be an air vent. It's just a piece of 1/2 inch copper pipe that they put there. This is hot. This is also hot. We're getting cold water for boiler makeup water if needed. And okay, Derek's going to take the service tag, which has today's date, tune up and start MA, maintenance agreement, February 5th, 2026. Here you go, Derek. Let's review a couple things, and then if you wouldn't mind, then I'll take your questions. Okay, number one, we just completed the maintenance that we do on an annual basis on this type of atmospheric burning, atmospheric venting draft system. Very good overall. There are some things like every painting, every blank canvas is a work of art. Everyone is different. Everyone with boilers is different as well. Could have been done differently? Yes. Is it affecting the performance? Minimally. It's nothing to be concerned about. A couple concerns I have outside the boiler, your water heater. There's a tremendous amount of corrosion on the hot water outlet fitting that connects the hot water outlet nipple to the piping system of the home. That has a lot of corrosion on there, and probably what happened is that the soldering, or the way that adapter was soldered onto the copper tubing, probably failed many years ago, and it's been leaking ever since then. And the water heater is, I think, 11 or 12 years old. You're in that beginning or middle of the life expectancy of a water heater, which they say is 7 to 15 years. I say more like 10 to 20 years. So you're at the earlier part of typical life expectancy age, but I would not make a repair to that as a first recommendation. My first recommendation would be to replace the water heater. If you do that, then the next thing we're going to talk about is the flue piping, which is wrong for it, and then the lack of a chimney liner that you should have according to code. But before we talk about that, first recommendation: replace water heater and address other concerns. Number two, we could cut that out and replace that with a new fitting, a new piece of copper, and put that back together, and hopefully, voila, there's no damage to the threads of the water heater. But because of the age justifies a conversation of replacement. If it was older, age justifies replacement. That's mic drop, hard stop right there. There's no need to go any further. We on the same page so far?
100%.
Okay. Now, according to code, what you have kind of set up, you shall have a chimney liner made of a UL approved stainless steel construction. You don't have that. You have the original terracotta lining chimney. You may have had oil at one point with this home, and that was fine because the exhaust temperatures of that oil boiler was hotter than natural gas. Your exhaust temperatures on this boiler is 400 degrees. How do I know that? We actually tested it with a combustion analyzer telling us the O2, CO2, carbon monoxide, overall efficiency, and the temperature going into the chimney. And the printout of that will be it's on the side of the boiler, and also a photo of that will be on your receipt that we emailed to you. That being said, you don't have a chimney liner in place. Now, when I first started, as where Derek is doing now, at that time, if 4 walls, I'm just doing that quite frequently. Let's monitor that. Just turned off, and it's 9:22.5. All right. I want to see if this thing's short cycling. You may have a grossly oversized boiler.
So that's what I want you to check the thermostat.
1 second.
If that's a problem.
1 second. Well, we will. It's probably not the thermostat, but Derek's going to go check that right now, see what that's set to. Back in the days, if you had a chimney, which was insulated by the home itself, which means that all 4 walls go up the inside of the home and out the wall, up the roof, you didn't need a chimney liner, right? That's what way it was, right? But if 3 walls of that chimney were outside, like the chimney's on the outside wall of the house, and 3 walls are exposed to the atmosphere and one is insulated by the home, then you needed a chimney liner. The reason why your chimney is so good right now and the condition of it is not crumbling apart is because it's an inside chimney. The chimney goes straight in the inside of the home, the structure, and then goes out the roof. But the code does state you shall have that, right? That stainless steel liner. So am I recommending it to you? Technically, yes. But you did say right from the get-go that, Mikey, treat this like it's your own home. Correct. And if it was my own home,
Correct.
The way you have it now, you need one change, and that change is that 3-inch flue pipe on the water heater shall be 4 inches.
Okay.
So when this water heater is replaced, right, you shall upgrade that to 4 inch. Okay. It's a little bit of a challenge because we have to chop through the cement wall of the chimney itself and go into that terracotta lining to increase that to 4 inch. But it shall be done, and that's the only thing that I personally would do if this was my home. As a human. As a professional, you shall have a chimney liner there, and I would send you to, I'd give you a list of chimney companies that can do that, and they would increase that 3 to 4 inch. That's entirely up to you. But you asked me right from the get-go, Mikey, this is your home now, you take care of it as it would be yours. I would change nothing else. There's nothing wrong with the way it's piped in. It works, it's fine. The circulator should be on the supply side, great. And 20 years from now, when you change the boiler, then it'll be different, right? But 20 years from now, natural gas will probably be outlawed by corporal punishment in New York, right? But that's my advice. Any questions?
So I would like to go with your recommendations. So the thing I was concerned with, as I mentioned, I've never drained that boiler. I had a freeze situation, so I don't know. I remember from your one video you said dirty water could take longer to heat. We don't know that scientifically, but I gotta believe my water's filthy. And then number two, I don't know if I'm 100% happy with my thermostat. So if you recommend a different type that's easier or more economically efficient to use, fine. And then the back of my house is where I was concerned. I have baseboard heater. I wanted you to take a quick look at that to see if that was laid out properly, if I need to do something different because the back of that house is cold. So those are the three concerns I have.
2 minutes. Okay. Real quick before I address that. Your boiler is, and there's nothing to be done about this, but your boiler is kind of like short cycling. It coming on, it gets the temperature real quick, then turns off. It turns off for a couple minutes, turns back on. That's not normal. It should be running to maintain that temperature for a longer period of time and then cooling off and, staying at a temperature and then turning back on and a longer runtime. This is like, it's going to cut off in the next 45 seconds.
Now, would that have anything to do with the thermostat?
Not likely.
Okay.
Not likely. But what it primarily is, it means that you have probably an oversized system that the engine is too powerful for the car it's attached to. Okay. To address your other concerns.
Well, how do we address that concern?
Unfortunately, unless you dump the heat somewhere, which means you need more heat output sources, dumping the heat. Let's say, it's gross.
That back room is freezing. Is that what you mean? Dump that heat?
No, but that back room may be making a separate zone if you're saying it's freezing. I don't know. I haven't seen upstairs yet. We're going to see that in a moment. Look at that. A minute runtime. And it's going to be off for about another minute and then turn back on. It should run longer and then be off longer. It's not normal. So you're accelerating wear and tear. And that may lead to other things. Like there's a portion of rust on the bottom of the combustion chamber, right? And I don't know how often, how religious you are in watching the videos that I put out on a daily basis, and I'll never forget this, right? Ever, right? But I took out last year a Whale McLean CGA, no, whatever it was. It was a grossly oversized boiler for a neighbor of mine, right? And grossly oversized. And the whole inside of the boiler is literally rotting away from the condensate. So the exhaust temperatures are, also contain a vapor, like water vapor, but it's not really water. It's it's very acidic, right? So his boiler is grossly oversized, and the whole inside of the block, the cast iron block, is rusting out basically from the outside in, and they're destroying everything on the bottom as well because it drips down. And it's not water. Water is one thing. It's like acidic condensate, right? Like a condensing boiler. It creates condensation, which is acidic. You need to treat it and then discharge it. Here you have a small pile of rust on the bottom of the boiler, but the boiler's not leaking water. The byproduct of combustion is what that is. And if this boiler is truly oversized, that's the reason why. So you may 20 years, no, it may be, I don't know, another 5 or 10. Don't know. But we have to see how much you have baseboard throughout the house, maybe some I really have no idea, but every foot of baseboard equals a certain amount of BTUs per linear foot of that baseboard, right? And which I think is 620 at 180 degrees. So if you have a 140,000 gross BTU boiler, right, and you only need 80, that is what you consider that would be grossly oversized. Your boiler's double what it needs to be. And that's where other things now take into play. So once you start analyzing the engineering and specifications of a heating system, now this door is normally closed.
Yeah.
Right? You have a 145,000 BTU boiler and a 40,000 BTU gas-fired water heater. That's 185,000 BTUs. Watch this. Now, hold on one second. No, I'm not saying anything yet. Hold on. $185,000 BTUs equals how many candles in BTU energy? We're going to ask ChatGPT this. So we need a baseline, and okay. So you need a baseline, but at the end of the day, 185,000 BTUs per hour, which is what this is when they're both burning at the same time, is 2,300 burning candles. Let that sink in for a second, and then let me say one more thing, and then I'll let you give you a chance to react. The door is closed. You have 2,300 candles burning in that closet. What do you think that closet's going to be like? Good response. Okay, so forget about the temperature of these candles, right? Because your temperature is being absorbed by water here, right? For the water heater and for the boiler. But with this door closed, do you think 2,300 candles will burn properly?
No.
Why? Because you need
air.
Exactly. So now you have 2,300 candles in this closet with the door closed. Where's all the air coming from?
Right. So
that's where you talk about combustion air for fuel burning appliances, and that's where you're doing more damage. So when you couple the possible condensation issue from short cycling boiler, the lack of proper air, now you have to listen. You said treat this like your own home. Now I'm not telling you to replace the boiler. I'll replace this boiler when it's dead, or like the cost to repair warrant a conversation about replacement. Right? My own home. Listen, I did it recently. I had a 250,000 BTU boiler, a Burnham Series 2 P208 gas-fired boiler with 4 or 5 zones on it. When I renovated my house and brought it to almost 5,000 square feet, right, and I did mostly radiant, right, I put in a wall-hung boiler only and I already had a wall-hung tankless water heater. And I have a 200,000 BTU wall-hung boiler, which does a zone of snow melt and 11 heating zones. But I did that because I wanted more space for the boiler because I wanted the utility sink to be more accessible, right? But I also wanted a modulating setup where it's going to ramp up or down and properly use the right amount of gas to properly heat my home at 145 degrees of water temperature. Mic drop. Those are facts, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're not having these kind of conversations with your HVAC contractor, you know what to do. Pick up the phone, give me a call, 516-348-6300. We'd love to help you. We have an office on Long Island servicing Long Island, Nassau, and Suffolk County, the state of South Carolina, and the state of Florida. Love to help you. Pipedoc.net. Thank you very much for your assistance in this matter.
You understand?
There's one more thing we have to do, and Derek did correctly identify every component that was on the hydronic boiler, and as promised.
Derek, I just want to say something for Mikey Pipes and Derek, who's a young man who's training. The rule is if you guess it right, you get $1 for every guess. 15 for 15, he got right. I was so impressed. I said, Derek, here's an extra 5. Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Now, I
Derek.
just want to say anything. To anybody else who has Derek in the house, Don't be so tight. If the kid gets to 15, spring a little bit for him, okay?
There you go. One other thing before I leave, you know about my nonprofit organization?
I do, and I'd like to make a contribution to
Okay,
that.
so let me tell you about my nonprofit to the rest of the community who doesn't know. When my main channel hit 100,000 subscribers, I started the Mikey Pipes Philanthropy organization, where we provide free or low-cost plumbing, heating, cooling services to those in the community who can't afford to hire a professional. And ideally, what I would like to do is create a national network of tradespeople that we can call should an issue arise in their area. And I got to tell you, every single day, because my website, pipesforfree.org, is so well, I guess, organically found on Google and Bing and whatever, that I get at least one email a day from people from coast to coast that need a hand, but I don't have a network of people. And, we're low on funds. Even though I take 2% of our net profit from Pipe Doctor and put it in there, it does go. It quickly goes. It's not a lot. But if you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation, I can happily take it from you. You'll get a tax receipt in the mail, and you'll be helping those in the community who can't afford to hire a professional.
All right, Mikey, I'd like to donate $100, but I will have to put it on a credit card. I don't use
No
the carry
problem.
cash.
Very good. Or check would be nice.
That's fine.
There you go.